Hey, I'm Di Gillett, and this is the Power of Women podcast. We're a platform that showcases and celebrates the strength, resilience and achievement of women from all walks of life. In each episode, I pose questions to my guests to peel away the layers to reveal the knowledge and the experience that shapes their narrative. So if you're feeling unseen, unheard, or simply looking for inspiration, then the Power of Women podcast is a great place to join the conversation.
I am. I have been self-employed my whole entire life. I am passionate about Indigenous people and keeping their wisdom alive. My first book came out about 3 years ago, and I've got another one in the works. And my deepest passion is to bring people to the understanding of their full potential, not give it to them, but get them to awaken to it.
Hey, I'm Di Gillett, and this is the Power of Women podcast. Welcome to 2025. We had such a blast talking with you and to great guests throughout 2024. We've made the commitment to come back again and present a new podcast every Monday with a new episode. One thing before we start today that I would ask from you is to help us amplify the message of the podcast out there. You can do that by following us on any of the podcast platforms, or we have developed a YouTube channel, Power of Women Podcast. Jump onto that, hit the subscribe button, and that helps us reach a broader audience and helps us bring the content to you. So today we have a return guest, and Kerry was on the podcast in mid-2024. And because of her amazing gifts and insights as an intuitive healer, her shamanic abilities, I've asked her to come back and shine a light on what we can expect for this year, being 2025. Kerry Henwood, welcome back to the Power of Women.
Thanks, Di. It's exciting to be here.
Kerry, could we start with the significance of today, which is the 29th of January 2025, which is also why we're releasing this one episode on a Wednesday rather than a Monday. Today is the Lunar New Year, year of the wood snake. What's the significance of the year of the wood snake?
I'm so excited about this. I am not the expert at Chinese astrology, so I am going to refer over to my notes. I have talked to other people that are experts, but this is a dynamite year. It is bringing in wisdom, so to focus on your inner wisdom. It's can be a total renewal of your internal, external, renewed. And also we can kind of see that going on in the planet. You know, it's pushing into this new world. It's enhancing intelligence, which could we relate to that to a little AI possibly, enhancing intelligence, transformation. I mean, this is like the wonderful chocolate cake this year.
This is a brilliant list.
Transformation, enhancing instincts, your intuition, using your instinctual energy, I tell you. Insight, I mean, this is just powerful. Wherever you put these, this is an incredible life. Enhancing good leadership skills.
Wow.
It's the time for great thinkers to rise.
Who wouldn't turn up for 2025? That is the most
people
dynamic
wake up.
lift. I know.
So
wow.
that was, you know, it did go on for quite some time when I was taking notes from my Asian friend. I said, no, this is great. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
So, you know, wisdom, renewal, intelligence, transformation, instincts, instinctual energy, insightfulness, good leadership skills, and the greatest of thinkers.
Who would not want to be alive in 2025? That is amazing. So with with that, Kerry, what are some of the major shifts or transformations that could come as a result of all of that?
Well, we'd have to talk about AI for sure, because that's the thing, right? So, because it's saying in the wood snake around intelligence. So that was the first thing that I went to, was the AI information. I mean, this is a part of our world. It is not going to go away. And, with the fact that there is this feminine energy that is rising, that is a cyclical pattern that happens here on the planet. I was talking to Indigenous people about this around the rising of AI, and they said the rising of the feminine will put the empathy in technology.
That is super, super interesting, because when we think of AI, we think of it as a non-intelligent life form, hence how could it possibly have empathy, being a human trait. That is quite something.
And I think it's, not that I'm an expert at AI, but it's in the hands of who is using it, right? And how that it's, what questions are you asking? It's collaborating information from multiple sources. And so it would be who in the field of, let's say, technology, that women were very advanced in the programming field. Is it going to come across differently? I would think so. I would think so.
And I think also, AI is an evolutionary product, and so what we can draw out of it is based on our writings and what we're putting into it. So if the uptake from females is significant, that's also going to change the tone of voice of what's coming back to users tapping into it. Is it not?
Exactly, because it all, again, I'm using multiple sources of communication and information. So astrologically, for instance, that Aquarian age has come in as of November. So Pluto's moving into Aquarius, which is all about advanced spirituality and technology together. So in 2025, we will see advanced forms of technology. I mean, I can't speak into it because we're not there to see it quite yet. But just astrologically, there is heart being put into technology. So it's not driven by just the mechanics of it, that it's used for service orientated. Yeah. And then there's this kind of alluding the astrology to kind of extraterrestrial, to not get too crazy out there with this, but there is that being spoken of. It's a hot topic around on the internet at the moment with progressive thinking people. What that looks like, I could not tell you, but it is there. And maybe in the technology, we're reaching out so far with advanced technology to maybe other worlds or intelligence that we weren't able to before. But definitely 2025 is about refining or defining, or refining probably is the word I want, the workplace. And that's already happened.
Yeah, absolutely. COVID was the circuit breaker.
Post-COVID, and so even more now. And so the whole technological age, again, wrapping into it, and then we have this transformational energy again with the wood snake. So there is that. Also, one of the Indigenous elders said to me that there is a big emphasis on leadership with mentorship with older women or men to younger. And so you're going to find in 2025, particularly in 2026 too, is that young people are looking to be leaders. So in my day as a young person, that was probably not my priority, I don't think. I can't think that far back. So, it's a mere memory or a past life now. And so, leadership skills are coming in, and the return of eldership with this snake wood energy is that elders in a lot of our Western culture are redundant humans.
Well,
sitting
that's
on
what I was
squashy.
going to say, because you've talked to us before on the podcast about the value Indigenous elders hold by way of wisdom, but our Western society hasn't valued that. But this suggests that we might be changing that up.
Yep. It looks like there's a turning point going on where and just out in the social media
Hallelujah
scenes,
for that.
Yeah, I mean, that is the destruction of civilization, really. If it is not the eldership that is if it's destroyed, what do you have? Because wisdom is based on experience. It's not. You're not wise at 10 years old or 18. It's based on experience, and particularly all worlds, whether it's business, spirituality, religion. It's all based on that experience. Yeah. They also said like the 2025 is like the movement of massive consciousness. It is the rising of conscious, meaning people being more conscious of what they're doing, not knee-jerk reaction, where you're just like, oh yeah, I'm going to go do that, work on this. That's not going to work with this energy. It is mindful, introspective, take time, contemplate where it is, and consciousness collectively with this wood snake around collective consciousness, who's your vibing tribe? Who are you vibing with? It is not a solo year, even business-wise.
Well, you've used the word collaboration several times, and we've spoken off camera about that being the basis of our world moving forward. Early adopters, Kerry.
Yeah.
But all of these things are in such stark contrast for the better to the year that we've just left behind.
Yeah, and we deserve it, I must say.
We sure do.
There is still a bit of a battle that will go on, but it's an internal battle because it's the old saying, it's better the devil you know. Not really, because people don't necessarily get down with change. And so if we think about post-COVID a little bit here and moving forward, is that you had to get to the wonderful instincts that humans have. They're adaptable. Humans are adaptable. Who is adapting you is the case here, right? Are you adapting yourself to change? Ultimately, that's the best way to go. Is something externally adapting you? That's not a good way to go. And so what you saw was people transferring themselves, business-wise, because everything crashed, restaurants, this, that, and everything, that you had to adapt. So you were forced to adapt. And so what is happening now, it's kind of like the time on the rock pile, if you chose the calling, as it were, and say, well, no, I am going to do something other than this, and I have to feed my children and pay my mortgage or whatever one has to do. Look at you, for instance, you've adapted to a completely different career, And so given 2025 and moving forward, it's always about adapting. Surrendering, adapting, surrendering, put your bold self forward.
Well, it's a bit like in a sales world, isn't it? What's the worst that can happen if you ask somebody whether they want something? They can say no. I think that plays into that style of thinking. And also one of the messages that came out in the leadership discussions that I had on the podcast last year was, if you don't decide how you're going to sit within an organization, somebody's going to decide it for you. So this speaks to that of taking control and being more the person directing your future rather than having it directed for you.
Absolutely. And that's, again, the wood snake, one of the essences of that is good leadership. So it's a vibrational thing, right? It's not like there's some wood snake we're going to go and pray to or something. It's like it's good leadership, really good leadership. And, you know, leadership and collaboration are incredible assets of women. Women collaborate. You know, there wouldn't be any wars really because women would sit down and have a cup of tea and talk about it first. You know, this is going to cost a lot of money. We're not going to do that. You know, so women will collaborate.
We need wars to drive the economy, apparently.
Well, and so there's, you know, that emphasis on collaboration to come into an empathetic way, empathizing with a situation. So all this glorious, wonderful feminine energy that we have inside of us, we're getting an opportunity to help literally change the world without being like way out of the field here. But it is.
It is.
Men have created the world to be changed, and thank you so much. It's structure and order and industrial revolution, and we have technology.
They've done a great job, and now it's time to pass the baton.
Fantastic. And now everything that is in place, that the masculine has put in place, is now we're going to offer a softer edge to that.
And maybe maybe men will now start to think more through the feminine so that, you know, they can take the foot off the pedal of that style of evolution and start to support what you're just talking about and show their more feminine side, which will make it a much better place.
100% collaboration, right?
Yeah.
It's just collaboration between the sexes, you know, collaborating with somebody that is, you know, leveled up, maybe higher than the information that you have, collaborating for expansion, and it's always about expansion. You know, we don't want to move towards contraction. Yeah. Because we've been pretty contracted, and contracted energy is very survival mode, you know, like you're just barely putting one foot in front of the other. And so, so that collaboration permeates through everybody, the gender. I mean, and then putting empathy or a sense of that I guess you could call it compassion even into technology and using it for the purpose of humankind and the evolution of humankind. And you can see that, you know, I've got a lot of young people that I talk to and do my back office stuff and my website and stuff like that. I don't speak the language. I have no idea what they're talking about. But their intention is honorable. And their intention is to get the right message out. And that is just, of all my years working for 44 years, 50 years doing this work, I could die next Tuesday and be happy because I can see that these humans, men and women, are using their technological mind for the coming together of the collective consciousness.
And what you're just saying too is through the work that you're doing, and you've got this younger cohort doing activities for you, is you're also mentoring them based on the material that you're providing for them to work with.
Yeah, exactly. And there is that eldership that is really important. Because I do find a lot of the time with the new energy that's coming in, there is a territorial sensation with people that they're invested in what they know, but they're only about 25. And, you know, so you've got to kind of sometimes chisel through that in a gentle way and get them to look at things a little differently. And differently so much faster than what I did when I was 25 or 30. Because, I mean, stuck was stuck in the 80s. We were stuck, you know. We just didn't.
Well, the world is way faster now.
You go dancing and stay up late. And so,
Yeah.
So the sum total of it's all about me, and it stayed about me for probably 20, 30 years. So now there's this mindset that it's incredible because we're talking about a generation here that you and I are attempting to approach,
play a
right?
part in, yeah.
Play a part in is, but they have a different neuro pathway to us. They've been brought up with some, always with technology since little. So, like we didn't have email, 90s and stuff like that, all that came in. So we've had to adapt the rate, the speed of our mind to multitask, but this is a thing that is a no-brainer.
Well, they've been born into it, and there'll be good and bad in that, which is there's no surprise that anxiety levels are so high within the younger generation because they've been lobbed into a super fast world where we've had time to move into it. Big difference.
100%. What would be an endangered aspect of human nature for me observing my young clients? Intimacy. And I don't mean sexual intimacy, just emotional intimacy, to hold contact, eye-to-eye contact, slow down your mind. Just about all of them break up on relationships, texting and things like this, right? Feminine influences in 2025. This is just dynamite. It's just dynamite. I am so excited. 2026 is Pluto's a slow-moving planet, and it's going to take hundreds of years, and it's just gone 0 degrees into Aquarius, which means that there is a slight contraction that people are feeling. Why? Because it's all about unconscious. Pluto's way out, no sun, dark, right? So it moves slow. So it's opportunity in 2025 where you got a knee-jerk reaction about something about yourself, you don't like how you look or something like that, address it. Because you will heal really quickly. If you're afraid to try something, do it. Just do it. Jump in, boots and all, and give it a shot. So you fail. So what? You get up and try
fail
again.
Fast and get going. Yeah.
Exactly. Failures are great because I end up knowing the next round is a success. I've had this wicked pattern that cycles. But it's that Pluto goes 1 degree, slow moving, not until I think it's February, something like that. We have planets that move in a minute or two, 3 minutes. Pluto moves like a degree every 2.5 months.
So we're here for a while.
We're here. Well, Pluto is staying for 200 and something years in Aquarius. So this is the age of Aquarius that we've all been praying to, and they did, the musical and stuff like that. So we are here, and it's all about the feminine energy within a masculine body too.
Wow. So to the point of what we just said earlier, and it will be a time when men hopefully will also think differently, and we will all move forward together in a more collaborative and cohesive manner.
Collaboration, again, is this a fantastic word. I love it because it's about that. It's not about separation. If you step out of collaboration, you could bump into chaos.
There's a phrase. I'm going to quote you on that, Kerry.
Yeah, because the feminine energy, the goddess or whatever somebody relates to out there, the word is chaotic in nature. Why? Because it's about birth, and birth is not necessarily structured. And so it's that chaotic energy before you come down the birth canal and you come into the world. So literally in the moment, we're crowning. So in the beginning of this year as a collective consciousness, and, if we just think logically about this, people, is that we all are thinking together. We might be in our little bodysuits here, these little skin suits, and you think that you're the only one that is feeling how you're feeling. That's not true. It's the Homotakuyasan is a saying that the Lakota have, is that everything is our brother and our sister. every stone, every rock, every bird, every plant. And the butterfly effect, right? To sense the butterfly wings in another part of the world. This is not magical thinking. This is science now.
Yeah.
Where once upon a time it was magical thinking of, were we spiritual people, right? No, this is science. Everybody knows that vibrational energy or vibration itself, like sound, changes behavior, changes your thought process, changes your neuro pathway. So as this 2025 we are in is the 1 degree Pluto going into Aquarius, I mean, this is creativity on steroids.
So one of the questions I was going to have was, did you see humanity being more unified or divided this year? I think we've already agreed that it is going to be more divided, because if we had to identify what is going to be the most powerful word for this year, being 2025, it's going to be collaboration.
And, to collaborate means that you're not working from your ego.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you're surrendered to the collective, because the collaboration is not just you. So you're surrendered to the collaboration of the 2 or 3 of you. And so therefore you're stepping back your ego to become a part of a tribe, in a sense, right? So yes, 2026 you would be probably feeling more of a unification, and it's still that kind of dramatic stage on the planet where people are fighting for territory. Governments have to change, because everything of, let's say, the old world does not suit this new world anymore, and none of us want it. And if you took a poll on things, you would word it in such a way that it was palatable for everybody's understanding, is that there wouldn't be anything. Even the real estate market in Australia does not work.
Anymore.
If we look at business, nothing is working. So something has to happen.
Has to change. Yeah.
Has to change, and has to be a collaboration. I had a teacher say to me, "Oh, the new world is here. It's just the old world is noisy and it's dying."
Isn't that just a billboard to say change is upon us?
Yeah, I mean, they said the new world and the new world. This is a Tibetan Lama friend of mine, and he said that the new world where people collaborate, the new world where people are quiet. The new world, but quiet with profound change. I mean, profound change. The old world is bravado, huge, yelling, screaming, control, covert in its behavior. So it's like, I say this to you, but I'm not going to follow through. None of us would do business on a handshake.
Yeah.
If you'd asked me that 30 years ago, yes, I would.
You would have. Yeah, but not today.
Not even me.
Today. Yeah.
No. I don't even trust people that haven't emotionally looked at themselves.
Hey, I almost feel like writing an MOA just to go out with somebody for gathering it. So, I mean, it's almost like that, isn't it? So you're absolutely right. So much business was in the past. We would have been comfortable to do that on a back of an envelope and pass it over and say that's what we're doing, but not today.
Not today, and isn't that sad? I mean, this is just like, what have we done, and what have we become?
Yeah, it's like living with our doors unlocked and now we can't.
Oh, absolutely no way, and big business on security cameras and everything, because the world has become tribal in its mentality. This is tribal, territorial hunt. Not the hunting and gather lovely tribes where everybody's working in collaboration with each other, right? Yeah. This tribal mentality is terrible, but it will go. It doesn't fit in it. And one thing that's interesting with in particularly Indigenous people and the old Tibetan Lamas that I associate with, they said, contraction always stays contracted. And expansion, it's not about winning or losing, but the expansion of love and compassion will be what will infuse people together. It just will. And that is something that is starting to occur on the planet. I do have this thought around, and you'll start seeing it, I believe. It's kind of a controversial thought, but there's a thing called a Luciferian effect, where the ugliness of human nature comes into collective consciousness, right? So it would be, religions maybe controlling and things like that, or where Luciferian effects like banks controlling.
So Luciferian as in the devil, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Evil? Yeah.
Yeah, and not like as the persona of the person
but
of the personality, right? So yeah, it's called the Luciferian effect and comes out of the agnostic belief systems, where everything is crashing based on that we were lied to. And what happens is that religions will transform, and if they don't, they will die off, because everything is a cycle.
I think Hollywood's been working with this in a few things that I can think of that I've watched. It now makes sense.
Isn't that incredible? I mean, look at
suddenly just makes sense.
Everything that has been a lie is considered a Luciferian effect, that it's after its own concern and not the power of the collective people. So, and
we won't believe the bullshit anymore.
Exactly. So it's all exposed. And it's like saying what you just said there, why do I not believe the bullshit anymore? Because you've rised yourself up frequency-wise. You've studied, you looked at different things, but there's just something unique about your ebb and flow that you are using your instinctual nature. You no longer will drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Wow, that's a goosebump moment, Kerry.
Yeah, and so I said, well, what about Buddhism? And Buddhism is not considered a religion, it's a philosophy. A religion is when there's a dogma, when someone tells you what to do that is above you in a belief system, right? Buddhism, if you don't do your sadhana or your dharma your way, it's your fault, because no one is going to,
Make you do it.
So you're a bad person, la, la, la. He tends to believe that the Dharma, which is the information of compassion and love and, respect for all beings, will just infuse into the hearts of every living creature. This is incredible. And if we get back to 2025, which we're in, that is exactly what is going on, because the wood snake is about what is my wise move here?
Mm-hmm.
What in all that I have learned and what I've come from, whether it's corporate, with whatever your background is, what would be the wisest move from my experience? Is this worth my time? Is this transformational for myself and others? Use the key words here, In my instinctual energy, I feel uncertain about that. Then you wait. You kind of wait. The knee-jerk reaction is masculine. That knee-jerk to move into things too quickly, I can be classic at that because I have an Aries moon. I'm already gone down the road.
So I always speak and apologise 5 minutes later. Yeah, that's me.
I know. I've already ended my life and come back probably.
Yeah.
I know, same. And I was a premature baby, right? So I'm way ahead of everybody.
I might have been. I just don't know. Yeah. Kerry, there is so much more to learn and unpack in this, and we did have the intention that you and I might do this in one episode. But I think, could I ask you to come back again next week, because you said something that really resonated. You said, what is my move now? So could we come back next week and talk about how to maximize the best of 2025?
Absolutely. I would be so excited to do that. Don't miss an opportunity, right? It's an opportunity, 2025.
Absolutely. Well, Kerry, thank you for joining me this week. I know everybody who's listening into this podcast will have so much powerful information to take away. They can jump onto your website as well, Kerry. Where will they find you?
That's Kerry. It's shamanicgrace.com.
Fantastic.
Yep.
I'll put that in the show notes. And as usual, mine is powerofwomen.com.au. Until next week.